I'm back here at TAS for the follow-up on what is the future of the 310, and Kilo Mike, the 421 is done. We're going to check both of those airplanes out, go through the 310 and what the decision was on that airplane. This airplane we're going to be flying for the very first time ever today, but not on this video. You'll have to see it on the other video where I fly the most complicated airplane in the world. Ironically, I just learned that the 310 was the first piston twin Cessna airplane, and the 421 is the last model of the piston twin fleet. That's kind of cool. Let's go check out the 421 and then let's go find the 310. I bought the cheapest 421C model in the world that was flying, and there were some things in the ad that I didn't know. One thing is these winglets right here. Didn't know these were on here. They were installed in 2020. The other thing are these strakes back here. So it's supposed to help with some of the stability and make it go a little bit faster. I guess we'll find that out shortly. I've also never actually seen the airplane totally put together with the engine cowlings and the interior in it. Let's just walk around and see what is different. They've spent the last roughly 6 months doing a very, very thorough annual on it. And here at TAS, and I want to give a huge shout out to the Twin Cessna Flyer Club. Without them, none of this would happen. They are the preeminent organization for all things Twin Cessna. If you haven't, go check them out, twincessna.org. Speaking of Twin Cessna, it's also the first time I've ever seen it outside. So we got our boots here, and yeah, we're gonna need to treat the boots with the ice shield stuff that we have to make sure we take care of these so they work nice and neat. The props on this thing, look, they are 91 inches in diameter. They're huge. That was another reason for why the propeller sits up a little bit higher on this versus other engines that would sit here, because these have a gearbox in them that reduces the speed on this while keeping the engine spinning faster. So the prop goes a little bit slower, but the engine is at its efficiency and the prop is at its efficiency. Okay, everything looking all right, looking all right. Good morning, gentlemen. Don't mind us, we're just taking a look. It's the first time I've seen it outside. First time I've ever seen it actually put together.
Yeah. You have like a stem then? Yeah, a bowl.
What was that?
Yeah.
Oh. Is it okay if I open the door and get inside? It's not going to mess you guys up?
No.
Okay. Okay. Strut. Apparently everybody hits their head on this thing too, so. That's fancy. That's fantastic. All right. I can already see right away the carpet is quite dirty, and we're going to need to get the fellows from Sparrowhawk to help us out. All right, this is pretty cool. Okay. Come on in. Wow. It's roomy in here. Okay, window for the front window up there. That's good. Table. Oh, that's fancy. Wait, is that? This little cup holder. It's kind of useless if I'm honest with you, other than a little tiny cup of coffee or something, but still, that's cool. Curtains, gentle, 1976. So be careful. It's probably gonna rip. You know what? I'm gonna leave that right there. The lights turn on. Oh, and they don't turn back off. Uh-oh. I'm sure that's fine. Did I mention it was the cheapest 421 in the world. Seriously? Oh. Oh. Pull the button all the way out. Okay, don't touch it. Got it. Headphone jack's back here, but I heard the passengers don't really need headphones because this is also the quietest piston twin airplane in the world. We're gonna find that out as well. I've never actually flown in one of these, and I bought this one, and apparently we're gonna do some training in it as well. What do you think, Silas? This is pretty sweet. Mom would fly in this one.
That's nice.
Yeah. Dude, it's nice back here. Now, a lot of these will have a like a galley back here that has like a little cooler and a drink thing and some other stuff back here. This one was taken out for some reason. Has a toilet though. There you go. Basically, you just got your Gatorade bottle inside, and that's for emergency use only, because you don't want to be the one carrying the bucket inside to dump it in the toilet. Yeah, that's what you have to do. It's gross. Don't be that guy or girl. All right, come on up. We got lots of switches over here, things happening here. Garmin 530, which I'm going to be going over to the 310, snagging the Avidyne 540 out and doing the world's fastest avionics update. You just got to unscrew this little thing in here, slide that out, slide the other one in and do this, and then change the adjustments to make sure everything's talking to what it's supposed to be talking to, and you're done. And that's all there is to it. It's fantastic. So we'll do that here in just a minute. Airplane has air conditioning. Never had an airplane that had air conditioning. I hope it works. Actually, I don't know if it works or not. I'm sure when we get to Florida, we'll find that out. Heater, all was redone. Oh, we got an in-op gauge right here, I just noticed. This attitude indicator is in-op. So that's on the co-pilot side. It's not mandatory to have, but when we get to Florida or something like that, we may have to have that sent off for redoing. Cool. Lightning thingy. And I have to learn how to use all this stuff because you're supposed to be able to set the autopilot here and then set this altitude thing here and then use these buttons here with this thing here and this thing here communicating with this thing, and then it's supposed to take you to where you want to go. But this is all very different from what I'm used to. So it is going to be quite the learning curve on the autopilot stuff for sure. It's got radar here, color radar, so you can see like bad weather and such. That's cool. Okay, well, they're gonna finish up doing what they gotta do here before we can go get it fired up and take it for its first flight. And then let's go over, check out the 310. They have it in a hangar way on the other side of the airport for a reason that you're about to find out. Come in here and check this out. You got a switch right here. A switch, what does that do? We got a light. Okay, that's pretty fantastic. This is also oxygen right here. So if we depressurize unexpectedly, the oxygen mask will not fall from the ceiling. You're just gonna have to figure out where it's at and plug it in. And then we're gonna do an emergency descent down below 12,000 feet. Okay, let's go find the 310. This is where the 310 ended up. So let's go see. I'm very sad, if I'm honest with you. As I sit here and look at this thing, I think about all of the work that was put into it by so many people. By the original owner out in California, the guy before Clint got it. It was his passion project, and then Clint, him and his passion project, he got it flying. And then we together got it going, and Silas, who's holding the camera right now, we flew it back all the way from San Francisco, all the way on the other side of California, from coast to coast. And then updated a lot of stuff inside, and then it's been a passion project ever since. But gosh, it just sitting in this hangar right now absolutely breaks my heart. I'm looking at the new tires that are on it that are sitting here, and they're going to be rotted. The propellers right there that were purchased specifically because they're the only ones that'll work on this airplane. The brakes, the hoses, I mean, just you name it, and the work that went into getting this thing flying. And the sad thing is, it's still kind of sort of flyable-ish, and it is just going to take a lot of labor. Oh, man, this breaks my heart. Okay, well, we got to start taking pieces off of it now to make the 421 a little better. So let's go do that. Oh, man. Well, we got this, which is the cover, and these are all the parts. Everything else I sent up here with it. All right, Bob. Well, time for you to go someplace else. So I'll sit you right there. Checklist. Waters. Oh, that's where that thing went. Need to take this back with me. What else is in here? Oil, sump can. Not gonna need that. A whole bunch of my rags, and what else we got here? Oh, that Twin Cessna Flyer magazine. So you get this every month whenever you are a member of it as well. That's fun. Let's see. Yep, taking all of these because not gonna need that. Well, I'm gonna need it on the 421, but not here. Okay, is this oil? Still got oil in it? Yep. Not gonna need that. Here's my actual flight bag that I carry with me. So it's got oil, extra headset in it just in case, some cleaner lube, towels, a couple of MREs, and I chose good ones, not the yucky ones, like beef stew is a good one, and the chili mac is another really good one. So if you're gonna be stranded, I mean, I'm Air Force, so we try to make it as comfortable as possible. Okay, got all that, extra batteries. Our flight thing for the 540, which we got to pull out of there. Tire deal. Okay, so I guess let's go in and I'll put this back in here. Not gonna need to take that. Oh my gosh, that is so sad. Oh, it breaks my heart. This, favorite part of the entire airplane. Just the clunk. Oh, the smell, everything. Oh man, I love this airplane so much. Oh, I need to take that off. Okay. Biggest thing we're gonna do is, oh golly, maybe. Oh, there it goes. World's fastest avionics update. you just, this one screw right here, you see it pulling out. And then like that. Ta-da! That part's done. And then we just reverse the process in the other one, slide it in, and that part's done. Now this also, I have the ADSB in, which gives us weather and traffic and other stuff, and it's buried up under the nose up there. I don't know if I'm going to be transferring that, because then we got to get another harness made, and we got to do just a few other things that are involved in that. But yeah, maybe. It's a really great audio panel as well. But the other one also already has a PS Engineering audio panel in it that is fantastic. Okay, so I just need to get this off of here, this clamp, and then that's it for in here. Oh man, so sad. Do we got anything else back here that we need? Let's see what, because I'm going to need all the manuals and everything. Not the 310 manual, but anything for that Avidyne. Hartzell, that stays here. Okay, all this stuff is for this airplane. Yep. All right, all this stuff stays here. Oh man. Hashtag save the 310. I'm having so many flashbacks right now of just the sound and the lights flipping on and all that stuff. I'm kind of amazed the battery is still totally fully charged. And we got all of our lights still work. Landing light, nav lights, those are all on. I mean, this airplane was definitely decked out as far as lighting and everything that we could do to it. It got it done. Man, I'm just, listen. Just that sound right there. Golly. Sad. Man. Yep, lots of hours. It helped train, get a couple more people in the air, and the sound of this thing, the look of it. Anytime we landed at an airport, people would always just come over and check it out and talk about it and see it, because you don't see many of these flying anymore, let alone one that's highly polished. And well, all right, time to go. Well, one thing we're not going to need is remove before flight. Yep. Over the last 4 years, we have went through 14 airplanes and aircraft. Most of them we were able to save. Some we were not able to save. All right. Goodbye, Silver Bullet. Let's check out some of these other airplanes they got hidden back here. This one, we know that one from the last video. That's a 320, which suffered a similar issue that the 310 does. I don't know what this airplane is. This one looks like a good one. It might just be here for maintenance or something. I don't know why, because it looks like a pretty nice airplane. I mean, minus something that happened back there. Oof. I don't know what that airplane is either. The gray one here, 310. Is this? No, it's not a 320, it's 310. A 310 Papa. Because the 320 has the different windows in the back. See how that one has 4 windows? And those were earlier models, like in the 60s or something like that. And this is a 310 with the one big window before they put the window back here. But it should have 6 seats. Yeah, or 5 maybe is what they call it. I have no idea what the story is with this one either. And then another 340 down here. Yeah, this one looks like one that definitely needs some love. Who knows, man? Maybe there's somebody out there watching, somebody here. Maybe there's a deal that can be made on one of these airplanes to be saved. I don't know. I don't know what the story is on any of them. But that one looks really nice. Nope. We got that one missing the cooling fan. I don't know. Ooh. Got a chunk. Oh, they were probably doing some work to it or something hit. I don't know. I don't know. But that's just like fiberglass, or no, it's metal. Huh. Paint on it is really nice. Whoop. Oh, it's got some newer avionics in it from what I can see. And a little spider on it. And a Ram 6, which is very desirable for the engines and the upgraded horsepower. Dude, this is a solid airplane. The boots on it are really good. There's got to be a story to this airplane. There's no way that this thing is just abandoned out here. This has got to be like a long-term maintenance or something. There's something with this airplane. There's just no way this thing is abandoned. Oh yeah, this is a nice airplane. Let's go check on the 421, see if it's ready to be fired up. And then we got to talk to Tony about the ultimate future of the Silver Bullet. Before I'm allowed to get in it and fly it, they have to do a post-maintenance flight. So they're going to take it up to altitude since it's pressurized. Going to be about an hour flight, get it all the way up to at least 15,000 feet, make sure everything's working, the pressurization and all that stuff is working. They've tested everything on the ground, but in the airplane world, some things you can only test while in the air, which is kind of the dangerous part about it. And this is the most dangerous flight because it just came out of a lot of maintenance and it hasn't flown for a while. So good luck, boys. And on this flight, it's only necessary people. So we're gonna have their test pilot, their senior pilot guy, and one of the senior mechanics that are gonna be flying it. Even though it's technically in annual, all that stuff, it's still the first flight. So they're gonna be doing that without me. And then we'll see them take off, and then about an hour, and maybe we'll go check in on the 310. And then, assuming everything is good, then I'll get in and we'll go up for a flight as well. So fingers crossed that first flight goes well. Is that not the coolest little tug in the world or what? I wonder how old that thing is. That's like, the front of it makes it look like it's from the 40s or 50s. Wow. It is a good looking airplane. Everything about this airplane is complicated. The way you start it, all your checklists.
The door.
Oh, here's the clear prop. There's the boost pump. Spin it, add fuel. And you can hear the clatter of the gearbox inside where the propeller and the engine, that little bit of play on the teeth going like this. And that is one of the hardest things to get dialed in now that it's all got oil and everything is nice and smooth. There's engine 1. Let's go look at engine 2. Bam! Man, that one fired right up. And we've modified it. We put the SureFly magnetos off of the 310 because, well, it's not going to need it. So I just took those off, same part number, and we were able to put those on here, which should give us better starting, better fuel consumption, and a little more power across the band and everything. So far so good. Oh man, that thing sounds good too, doesn't it? 375 horse per engine. Got it. Okay, I'm kind of excited actually. That's a pretty nice airplane. We had the exhaust totally redone on it. We had to have the heater redone on it. We put the magnetos, both magnetos had to be redone on it. All the spark plugs, brand new, the Champion fine wire spark plugs on it, Champion harnesses. The QAA or Hartzell did the heater and the magnetos. New brake rotors. I don't even know what all. The list, as you remember, was 24 pages of just the known stuff, not including everything that they found on their way through it. So we'll find out if the mag drops and all that stuff goes well, and then they'll take flight in it. I'm kind of pinching myself because I remember having this dream, man, I bet it was 10 years ago now. I lived a little bit south of an airport, and I would always see, you know, nice airplanes, private jets and what have you flying over. And I remember saying, one day I'll have one of those. But I knew it was going to take a lot of work. I mean, that was, I don't know, 10 years ago or something like that. So it's taken no longer than that. I bet it's been, Silas, how old are you, 14 now? Yeah, at least 10 years. That's awesome. That's a big airplane too. What are you doing? Oh, is it? Oh yeah, I forgot I'm wearing a Twin Cessna shirt. I know I've plugged them a few times, but trust me when I say it's worth their weight in gold. Even if you don't fly a Twin Cessna, if you're even thinking about flying one, for sure, check them out, twincessna.org. Let's see this thing take off. Silas just mentioned how fast the gears came up. Yeah, 1 second with hydraulic gears. That's the difference between the electrical motor one and a hydraulic one. They just go just like that. And they took off north. That's a good sign. They didn't have to turn around and make an emergency landing. So now let's go talk to Tony and Marla and see what the future of the 310 is. I also spied, they said I have a whole bunch of boxes that people have dropped off for the 421, and there's a grill here apparently that we need to open up and check that stuff out as well. Let's get back inside where it's less windy. So following them on ForeFlight, they're climbing out. Thought I saw 130 knots. There it is, 133 knots, and they're currently 4,000 feet as of 10 seconds ago. This is the ice shield stuff. This is how we take care of those boots to make sure they don't get all dry rotted. Conditioner and I'm assuming protectant and cleaner and ice inhibitor. Yeah. So it's a 3-step process to take care of the boots, which we need to do because I already saw a little bit of crazing and dry rotting on them. Now these boxes, I think all of these boxes, no, not these two, these are a gas grill that is supposed to be the best gas grill in the world, made in USA. But the rest of these boxes are from the previous owner of the airplane. And he mentioned stuff. So I don't actually know what we're gonna find. All right, we got a battery minder. We got oxygen masks. Some copper washers. That's kind of random. Oxygen masks. That's always good. I wonder if there's a date that these things expire. Probably. So that is good. A Garmin box, the card programmer. Also good because USB cord. Oh, there it is right there. So you got this little deal. You have to update your information on your GPS every 28 days. It's insane. And you have to have a special box to do that, which we do. And the cord, fantastic. Thank you, Ken, for that. There's something else down in here. What is that? Oh, it's a big one. That is awesome. It's a battery tender, so when it's plugged in, it keeps the battery charged. And look, 421 kilo mic. It's got a plate on the back of it that's all like fancy engraved. And then there is a operation log. Hobbs time calculations? Dude, that's fantastic. Oh, and now we have some of your weight and balance sheets. Oh, this is fantastic. Thank you, Ken, for that. One box down, like a bunch more to go. What the heck is that? Oh, life vests. Oh, heck yes. Because, bought this plane specifically because we're going to be going over water and could be going over a whole lot of water. That is awesome. Inspection date, May of 2014. This is only like 10 years ago. I don't know what the life expectancy on those are. Oh, they are expired but can be recertified. Well, that's pretty cool. I don't know how that works, but I guess we'll find out. And in this box, we have, come on, keys that are labeled. Heck yes, look at that. Even got the digital camo going on. That is super neat. Packing list, extra keys. Our STCs for the strakes, the navigation lights and winglets. Oh, yeah, from RAM. They're the ones who put that on. And then even a RAM bag, because you never know. Need another flight bag. Well, that's awesome. What do we got? Here's the big mystery one that, oh, that one's heavy. What the heck is this? Are you sure this is for me? It's a cylinder to an engine. I don't think this was meant for me. Yeah, this is not me. We're opening up somebody else's box. But if you ever want to know what a brand new cylinder looks like, and a piston. You want to see the size of the piston in one of these things? Look at that sucker. That's one of the 6 pistons in each engine. That's how you get 520 cubic inches out of 6 cylinders, making them massive. Okay, this is clearly not us. Okay. Oh, Lord of mercy, this one's heavier than that box. What the heck? Okay, that's really weird and kind of awesome all at the same time. It's battery. It's a whole extra battery. One thing about airplane batteries, crazy expensive. We're talking $1,000 is a cheap airplane battery, and when they get into this size of airplane, they have to be a little bit bigger and have more special stuff. So this battery is probably a couple $1,000 battery that they sent me because he doesn't have the airplane anymore and wanted me to have everything that went with it. So thank you, Ken. Okay, I'm gonna assume that's all that's in there because that's really heavy. Oh, Lord of mercy. Now, for my favorite thing that I was looking forward to. Okay, this is a Solaire grill, even though it says Rasmussen gas log. They make gas logs for fireplaces and things like that to look really hyper realistic. Oh, golly. And they said they were going to send the grill plus this is a travel grill, and then they have the kits to hook it up to the propane on the RV, so we don't have to have little propane bottles and stuff. We can just plug it right into the RV itself. Yep, that's where it's a 20-pound can that you can plug into, and this one should be, yes, the low pressure conversion kit. So using these, we can plug it straight into the RV propane system, and we don't need to carry around the bottles, but right from the factory, it is ready to go for the little 1-pound bottles to screw right onto. So that's cool. This, those are sharp, is what I was really looking forward to. This is their tabletop infrared grill, and made in the USA, heats up super hot, and it's infrared, not a regular gas thing, so it works. They have a limited lifetime guarantee on them. You know what? Let's save this for when we get back to the RV and we cook some dinner. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to unpack it here and then we got to figure out how to get it back in the van. So I got this one specifically because it's the right size to put in the RV and the airplane, because the airplane is now going to be like our RV. That staple just stapled me. That hurt. They're cooking along at 200 knots right now at 9,000 feet. So, all right, we know the airplane's a 200 knot airplane. 202 knots now. Well, they made it. That's a good sign. Let them pull in and let's ask them how it went. If they pull it over to that hangar and that area over there, that's a good sign. If they pull it over toward that workshop area over there, not a good sign. Let's see where they park it. Which direction are they going to take it? That's not good. They're headed very straight towards that shop line. That. Oh. Hey, I don't know which one it's gonna be. I guess we just gotta go ask them. I have no idea what their conclusion or how long their discrepancy list is gonna be. So we're about to find out. I notice he's writing a lot of notes. All right, Chris. Oh, you got. They're not done writing notes apparently. All right, a scale of 1 to 10. How bad is it?
It's a 7. There's some things that need to be addressed, but nothing life shattering.
Okay.
It flew and it flew well.
Okay.
So nothing too bad.
All right. Are the discrepancies to where do you think we'll be able to fly it today, or are we going to have to address some things and then come back to it?
There's a couple things I want them to look at before we go take another flight in it, but
all right.
Nothing too crazy.
Okay. Well, we can go into a little quieter place and kind of talk about what you found.
Absolutely.
All right.
So little things. There's a screw that needs to be put in a co-pilot armrest. There's a de-ice light that's not working. That's easy stuff. Left and right hand manifold pressure as we started climbing started to move around a little bit. So that's something I would need them to mouse milk the wastegates and work them free. Just make sure that happens when they sit. So
yeah.
Even though we did it when we were doing the annual, it needs to be worked.
Now that it's been exercised.
Yep. Now that we started to exercise it, your prop sync is not working.
Okay.
Your autopilot was working and then quit working. So there's something
Fantastic.
there we need to look at. It worked fine all the way up through climb out, leveled off like it was supposed to. And then on descent, it just kind of started to go a little wonky, and then we couldn't get it to engage and we couldn't get it disengage, and then it just nothing wanted to work after that. So
okay.
We need to look at that. Your right hand analog EGT for your ram gauge is in-op. It stopped working halfway through the flight. It was reading fine and then went to 0. So
fantastic.
Your JPI didn't show that, so there's no issue there.
It still has the old one in it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Is that because the JPI is the secondary?
Yeah, it's not the primary, so you have to have that primary one working. So we'll have to get that fixed as well. But that's just normally a probe, or it could just be a loose wire. So we'll have to have them check that out. There's some screws missing on the trim that I want them to put back in, little stuff like that. We did have a weird miss pretty much the whole flight. Okay. There was a miss somewhere. I don't know if it was the right engine or left engine. There was nothing corresponding on the engine instruments to tell me which side was missing.
So what was it doing?
You would just feel a little bit of a cylinder, like a cylinder missing as you were flying. You'd be flying along.
Consistent each.
Yeah, it was pretty consistent the whole time. When we got it up and leveled it out, it seemed to not be as pronounced, but on descent and climb out, you could feel it pretty good. It was every once in a while you just feel a little jolt.
Yeah, you don't want to feel that.
Yeah, so I kind of want them to just look some things over there, make sure there's no issues with the ignition harness, that kind of thing, because that's almost what it felt like to me.
Okay.
With the Surefly mags on there, I just want to make sure everything is hooked up and set properly. So
yeah. And my understanding with the Surefly mags is this is not. It's a very uncommon thing.
Yes.
For the Surefly to be on these engines, and my understanding is it's the first time they've been put on the geared GT.
It's the first time I've ever seen them on a GTSIO. So
yeah, and that was my understanding. But they're all cleared for the install and everything else. And I had them on the 310 for the longest time.
And I've seen them on 340s and stuff like that. But this is the first 421 I've seen them on. So
yeah.
I just want them to look it all over and make sure there's no other issues. They'll do another leak check just to make sure there's no oil leaks that sprung up on that first flight. Again, it's been sitting a while and it wasn't getting flown regularly before you picked it up. So
yeah.
It's going to take a little time to work out all the little kinks, but
yep, those first 25 hours are going to be filled with little stuff like
just this. Little stuff. Like I said, probes going out, that's normal. All in all, though, it was a pretty clean flight. We didn't have too much to.
I'm curious, what did you see for your fuel flow at? I don't know, how long did you have it at altitude, or what altitude did you ultimately get it to?
We're at 13,000 feet.
Okay.
We typically don't push airplanes when we're flying them for maintenance flights. We won't pull it back, but you could have easily hit your book numbers. You could have easily been, we were at a 75% power, so 31 inches, 1800 RPM. You could have easily got it to your 21 gallons a side and been just fine.
Okay.
We stopped at like 24. We typically don't run
Keep it on the well on the rich side.
Yeah, just for the maintenance flight. Again, not our airplane, so we want to make sure we don't cook a cylinder or do anything like that. So.
Yeah, okay. Because that was the other thing with the Sureflies is gives about a gallon an hour per side.
Yeah, which you probably easily would have hit. Your numbers were nowhere near being too hot.
Oh, good.
At 24. So
okay, 20, and all the cylinder head temperatures and EGTs.
Everything looked really good. Like I said, we were a little on the heavy side, but you can see CHTs and EGTs. This is on climb out.
Oh my goodness, those stayed really cool.
So everything stayed really cool all the way through.
And this was a power setting
35 inches.
Oh, 35. Fuel flow was 32.
Yep, 32.3 and 33.5 is what we had on climb out.
It's not too bad. And that's full rich?
That's full rich, yep.
That's pretty good.
So book will tell you 31, so we could have leaned them out even more, and judging by these numbers, that would have been easily done.
Yeah, because you're well under the 15. You had one slightly hot one here.
Yeah,
that's the
your
TIT. Okay,
so that's perfect. Yeah. I mean, I don't usually worry on these until we get into the 1550 range. That's where I usually will run them in cruise.
Oil temperature stayed pretty close, 150-ish.
Yep.
160 somewhere. Oil pressures were good.
Yeah, everything, like I said, everything on that end of things worked great.
Cruise 31, 18, 24. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yep. All your control knobs are pretty matched up all the way across.
They were during the whole...
Yep. You have a little bit of a 1/16 of a knob split at cruise, but that's minimal. And that may go away. That was with us kind of moving things around as it was moving up and down as far as the...
Yeah. And then once you get the wastegates, once everything gets exercised a bunch more...
The more you exercise the airplane,
settle in
it'll all...
somewhere.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, so that makes me feel a little bit better. And the autopilot thing, the previous owner, or the previous guy that managed the airplane, he was telling me that the previous owner he had issues with the autopilot. And it was kind of this always circle... They'd go get something fixed, and then it would work for a little bit, and then the autopilot would do something weird.
To me, it almost seemed like once it warmed up, it started to have issues. Because it was, like I said, climb out was perfectly fine. It did everything we asked it to do. We were resetting everything. Your altitude pre-select, it leveled off a little bit high, but then came back down and found its altitude. So everything was doing great, and then on descent is where things started to go haywire.
Yeah.
It would bring the flight director up, and then you couldn't get it to go away, but it wouldn't let you arm anything. It was doing weird stuff, and even if we reset the breakers, it still wouldn't let us arm anything after that. So there's something going on there.
So we got some autopilot.
Yep, your pressurization wasn't perfect, so there may be some things we want to look at there too. But nothing. I've seen way worse. I've seen them come in real bad. So
was it able to at 13,000? Was it able to hold, or what was the differential?
You were 4.0, so you should be. It's a 5.0 system, so you're about 1 psi off of being your max differential.
So it's got a decent leak in it somewhere.
Yeah, but
be a multitude.
It's not enough that I would point to one side or the other as far as the ram dumps and stuff like that goes. So I think it's more of a cabin thing, or you've got a pressurization hose that's got a little bit of a hole in it. So things they can easily pop panels open and look at to see if there's any issues. So
okay.
So now I get to go give him all the stuff they need to look at, and we'll...
And there you go. Now, what on here, the turbo wastegate stuff, you're going to want them to look at that. What else would you want them to look at before you would fly it again?
We'll need to get your probe working for your EGT.
That's right, because it's primary.
And that's really the only two things we would need to actually go fly. So...
Okay. Well, that's not bad at all, then.
Nope.
Okay. Well, then in that case... it's about lunchtime.
Yeah.
He's going to go grab some lunch. And Tony, he's a busy guy, so it's going to take us a minute to get him hunted down to where we can get his attention for more than 5 minutes to go through what is the future of the Silver Bullet.
Fair enough.
So while they do this, we'll go get some lunch.
Yep.
And
I'll get them
Tony
going on it,
stuff.
and we'll hopefully get a flight in here shortly.
That would be awesome.
All right.
I was digging through their magazines, the Twin Cessna Flyer magazine. Look what's on the cover. The Silver Bullet. Before it was the Silver Bullet. There's no bullet there. And the whole story of Jimmy's world and my background and all that kind of stuff. Wow. Look at that! This is the first time I've actually seen it in print. I've talked to Christian whenever he was putting the story together, but hey, look, there's Silas right there. And the silver bullet, there's a family. Well, that's fun. And then wing locker corrosion, bah, on the 421. It's like went from that directly to this. And speaking of that, on the flight they came into a misfire or just some funky going on there, and we think, and this is Chris, he was the pilot. So it is the SureFly mag side that was doing it though, right? Okay.
That's where you see your highest drop, yeah.
Okay, so then what we're gonna do is, this is the first time they've put those mags on this engine, a geared engine. So there's a little, we're kind of expecting there to be some funkiness to get it dialed in right. And this is honestly what I was expecting. So we're gonna go out there together, and all of my airplanes have had either the SureFly or the EIS if it's Lycoming. So I am intimately familiar with setting these up, and they've done a few of them, but this will be the first one on the geared engine. So let's go fire it up and let's just see what we can see. All right, he says we have nice cold air conditioning, which is kind of fantastic. Fuel, making sure we got fuel flow.
Yep. And then you'll learn real quick these engines like a lot of fuel. Oil pressure's good.
10 PSI is coming up. 10. Seem to start up pretty good.
It starts and runs really well.
Now, did you do an idle mag drop as well?
No.
Air conditioning.
You will get it. No, it seems to be better at lower RPM, but at 1500, which is where you're supposed to check it, you really won't feel it.
I realized something the other day. I've never actually flown in a 421.
Really?
Yeah.
They're great flying airplanes. They're quiet. That's the main draw is quiet.
Oh wow, that is nice cold air conditioning.
It'll get even colder. Give it a few minutes to get caught up.
That's amazing. And you bring them both up?
Both of them will check each engine individually. So we're not going to do the left mag and the left mag. You know, we don't want to compare them with what actually see. So I'm going to turn the left off. This is going to be the right hand mag, which is the SureFly mag right on the left there.
Yep.
Not a bad drop.
Yeah, but there's definitely some.
But something's definitely not right there compared to the left mag on the left engine.
Yeah, that's a really clean drop.
You know, 20 maybe. That's all you're seeing. And then same with the right. The right's a little worse than the left.
Yeah.
Compared to but again, it's not. It's within spec of what Cessna
Yeah, but
says.
there's something wrong
Something's
there.
not right though. And that's kind of what I told him. If I had to bet, that's something to do because that's almost like the miss you feel when you're flying. But it's so quick you can't get any indication here to tell you what's actually happening.
Yeah.
You can't tell if it's one specific.
It should have all the plugs in it.
Yeah, it has all new whatever plugs were set. Champions, I think.
Yeah, champion fine wires.
checking to make sure for some reason there wasn't a foul plug, or one of them didn't pass a resistance check, or just kind of going down the ignition. It's definitely something the ignition needs.
All right, well, conclusion, we need to pull what, because it does the same on both sides.
It's
Okay.
all intents and purposes, it is the same. I feel like the right is a little more messy than the left is, as far as something's just not firing properly.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's going to be what we dive into to try to figure out.
Yep. Okay, and we'll get cowlings off for engine cowlings over that, and then just double checking everything.
Absolutely.
To see what we
Leads
got.
all the way out, plugs, the whole 9 yards. So
Okay, that sounds good, and we'll keep going, and that's why we do these flights.
absolutely.
So
I find something on every flight after maintenance, whether we worked on it or not. Something's not going to work right, and we like to make sure that when we give a plane back to somebody, that it's working properly. So
yeah, 100%. Okay, well, let's dive in and start doing what we do. Thankfully, on the Surefly mags, they have this little hole in this cover that we can just pop this plug off and then take a mirror and look in there and see what the dip switch settings are supposed to be. Man, actually, I wonder if I can even use my phone on my camera. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, look at them. Oh, it won't focus now. All right, we've got down, up, down. Yep. Down, up, down. Day. That part is correct, which is kind of a bummer if I'm honest with you. I was really hoping that that wasn't going to be correct, and then we could just go clip, and then all of our problems would be fixed by a little flip of switch. But no, that would have been too easy. Now, on to the next thing, which I don't exactly know what that is yet. This is Tony. This is the man, the myth, the legend. One of the main people behind TAS Aviation and one of the core knowledge guys behind the Twin Cessna Flyer organization. What we have decided to do with the Silver Bullet is get people in that can give it the love and the care and attention that it needs to be perfect. And there is nobody better than this gentleman right here to head the project up. Now, I will say that it is being given to Wings of Compassion so that it can have that nonprofit side of it, so that if people out there are going to be donating time or products or whatever, they can write it off. And then Twin Cessna Flyer members are going to be the ones that are going to be doing some of the work, headed by yours truly, Tony, to get that thing absolutely dialed in like it's never been dialed in before. Tony, help me understand your vision for this and why you decided to do this, because it's a lot of man hours that are going to go into it. There's no question, but why that airplane and help me.
Yeah, well, first of all, in any twin Cessna, you don't like to lose one.
Right.
I mean, we have a finite number of these in the world today. They're never going to make another one, so our mission is to keep on flying and keep on maintaining and operating the ones that we have. So really, it's not specifically about the Silver Bullet, it's about all twin Cessnas, or really all legacy airplanes that aren't in production anymore. So we looked at that. It's a reasonably nice airplane all around. It just has some 50 years worth of issues that needed to be worked on, and we got a pretty fair list of what's going on, and we think it's possible. The airplane is in pretty decent condition, generally speaking, all the way around, and we'll just give it some attention, give it some parts that it's going to need, give it a little bit of extra special work, and we'll have it back to where it belongs at some point here. So I hope we can go through that. Our first plan of action is, now that we've got an initial plan, is to get a scope and detail kind of like check sheet, so that we know what are we going to attack first and what are we going to do, and what's the progression of the things that we're going to do, so that we don't stumble all over the place and spend a bunch of extra time. We're going to have to modify that a little bit, float around depending on the skill set of the people that are going to work on it. So you will decide, well, we're going to do some structural stuff with some people that really know structural stuff pretty well. We're going to do some just straight up, let's take a toothbrush and clean this.
Yeah.
To some guys that maybe not.
For all the rest of the people, it's like, it's a cleaning day.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah. So, and document that kind of thing on it. So that, and I think the first plan of action is we're going to try to preserve stuff in it, so that in the months to come, it doesn't degrade into something else in it. We've got it pretty well stored at this point, and that's one of the things that people get started with. Resurrections, is what I'll call them, is they have this tendency to just kind of tear everything to pieces, throw all the pieces around on a shelf or in a box, and then lose interest because it just is overwhelming. So it needs to be a little bit upfront, detail to begin with, to do that. I've worked too many jobs of people come in and say, I don't know how to get this back together again. Would you come and do this? And you find it 1,000 pieces in a box.
Yep.
And that's not the way to be able to work with it. So that's where we hope to plan and start with. And that was what we discussed as we went along with it, and what this has wound up being. So hopefully that gets Silver Bullet back in the air, and we can let people see what a old-timey 310 is really all about. So
the sound, the look of it, especially being all polished.
Right, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That hits you in all the places.
Yeah. Those airplanes are always pretty amazing to think that they're, 50 plus years old, and they designed it, and it's still kind of operationally like top dog in its class of airplanes in it. It's still fast, it hauls a lot, goes long distance, and it can do everything a new airplane can do, pretty much, given the right amount of equipment in it and the right maintenance on it. So.
Yeah. And what is it going to mean to you to have the members of Twin Cessna Flyer Organization be a part of this restoration?
Well, I hope that they get more out of it than I do, because to corral that many people on it is a bigger job than what a lot of people think. Okay.
Herding cats.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and so that's going to be somewhat of a job just in and of itself. So all I hope is that everybody has some level of enjoyment and says, "Hey, I was part of that," and that people can look back and tell their kids or tell their grandkids or whatever, and say, "Hey, I helped get that back in the air," and their grandkids can say, "Hey, my granddad did that." So that's what we hope to get out of it. Just like someone that would build a home-built airplane or work on a warbird or anything else, that they would get some satisfaction with that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you so much. And if you want to be a part of this whole journey, go to twincessna.org and sign up. There's different levels and different ways to get involved, but that's how you do it, all through the organization. It's going to be the members being headed by Tony and a couple of the other guys here, just watching, making sure everything gets done in the best top-notch way possible. So with that being said, I have, how long?
Don't ask me.
I know. Because we were talking, we're going to measure this in years. So on the super optimistic side, 3 or 4, realistically. Maybe 2 if the stars align.
If everything falls together, and it worked pretty consistently through it, I would say that 2 years is not out of the question.
That's a big chunk to pull.
Yeah, but it's more going to be like 3 or 4.
Yeah. And I mean, after that, I think it would be great to fly it around, fly it all over the
Sure.
country. Yeah, and keep the polish that Sparrowhawk and those guys, I mean,
Yeah.
you've already talked to them.
I've talked to Sparrowhawk
Yeah.
in depth in it, and they're willing to help with it. We ask some questions about how to maintain it. They give us some hints on how to maintain the polish in it the way that it is now. We won't do anything too drastically to undo that, but with some of the work that we have to do, we're going to have to polish new pieces, parts that goes into it, and they're willing to work with us on that. So I got them on board.
Oh, fantastic. Well, wonderful. Tony,
All right.
thank you so much. I am looking forward to this project. It is another Save the 310. This is like the fourth time I think this 310 has been saved. However, now is the best guy in the business is going to be overseeing it and making sure it is done to the highest of standards and quality. And they've done this before. And my understanding is you were saying that the original Twin Cessna Flyer organization airplane was a tuna tank straight tail 310. Is that right?
Yes, it was. Yes,
Oh,
it was.
that is
That's
fantastic.
how the Twin Cessna Flyer got started in '88 with a similar kind of condition aircraft, actually. So
I didn't know that.
we went in and we did repainting. We redid a bunch of structural work in the nose because it had a really poorly repaired nose gear collapse on it, and we redid a bunch of that, and we did an underwing exhaust modification on it. We did just lots and lots of work on that airplane as we went along. We didn't stop and drop and do all of that. We was just doing stuff as we went along with that airplane. So
Whatever happened to that airplane?
I don't exactly know. It was sold to upgrade to a 310Q because of the fuel, a longer fuel rate, and baggage door and stuff in the back is why the President Larry decided to move that way. They sold it to a flight training school out in the Northwest, and it got gear up not long after he sold it, and during a training accident, which they just forgot to put the gear down, overhauled the engines and resold it after they got the engines and props done and fixed to a flight training school down in the Southwest who within a month or so promptly did the same thing again. And during a training flight had forgot to get the gear down, and about that point in time is where I lost track of where the airplane had went. So I don't know where it went to from that, whether they repaired it or whether the insurance company kind of like said, hey, this is enough, or whatever. I don't know what exactly happened.
Well,
I may do a little bit of Sunday afternoon in the winter time when it's bad, search and see if I can't come up with something on that, and I'll let you know.
all right, there you go. That's great. Well, thanks again, and I'll let you get back to it. You got lots of work happening here, but that's the future of the 310. Is yes, it is going to be saved again, again.
Right.
So stay tuned for that. We'll be checking in every once in a while as different things happen. Again, if you want to take part in that, just go to twincessna.org and contact Christian there, and he's kind of the wrangler of all the stuff, and he's the person over the organization itself. So with that being said, Tony, thank you again.
Thank you.
Now we're going to go see if we can't figure out that 421
There
little
you go.
mag issue.
Okay, real good.
We just connected the timing wire there. It has an LED on top of it that goes off when it's exactly at its firing mark, the 0. And we show here we have 1.0 degrees, so it's only 1 degree off. Realistically, you shouldn't notice anything of substantial notice if it's just 1 degree off. So that looks like it's connected correctly and installed correctly. The dip switches are installed correctly. So now we're gonna have to put our brains together and figure out what else might cause that little bit of like not smooth firing. So I don't know. We don't know exactly if this is gonna fix it or not, but the mag was, like I just said, it was only off by 1 degree on the prop, but it does, if you multiply it out with the gear and do some public school math, it was off by like that much. So we're gonna see if that made any difference, put this thing back together, fire it up, Maybe it did. Gut saying probably not, but one step at a time. One step. All right, let's see if that made any difference whatsoever. Place your bets in the comments. So you said the prop sync is not working?
Correct.
That's annoying.
Yeah, well, it depends on which system it is. You know, if it's the newer system, the prox is up under here, and a lot of times the pin sets, when they plug in, they get kind of wallowed out and they don't make a good connection. So we just go back in there and crep them all back in and then shove it in, and it normally fixes the problem. So normally it's not a huge deal. Yeah, they normally put it somewhere up underneath the.
Now this should have turned on.
It comes on. It's on your avionics bus.
What? Somebody did not connect that correctly.
Someone did not wire that up correctly.
That should be on your main bus.
Yep. Typically they come on when you throw the battery master.
And you said this was working, and then it decided
This side's
to not
working, and
work.
this side is not. Yes, it was working, and then it just fell to zero.
Perfect.
Probably just a quick probe though. Nothing crazy on that. That's almost no drum on the other one there. You know it's doing it.
So number 2 cylinder is dropping off a lot. How's that go?
I want to watch this cylinder head temperatures go. Losing is one thing, if we're losing cylinder head temperatures, still climbing, so.
That's the number 2 cylinder.
Number 2 cylinder. I mean, that's pointing at something. Could be a lead.
So I just reach out there and grab that thing and see if you get a.
Start wiggling wires.
Yeah. Well, that's annoying.
It was a.
A valiant, vain attempt. Okay. That's the way it goes sometimes on Jimmy's World. We didn't get what we wanted to get done today, but making progress one small bite at a time. If you want to see me fly this, check out the video that we're going to be posting soon where I attempt to fly the most complicated general aviation airplane in the world, this 421. And I've never actually flown in one, so that's going to be an interesting experience. Otherwise, we got to keep getting on the road. But now you know the future of the 310. Hallelujah. It's going to get saved again by the best people and the best organization in the business. Airplane ownership. That's what we do here. See you next time.